Welcome to The Bone, the podcast that goes deeper. Here we cut through the noise and get straight to the core of the issues that matter. From real stories to raw truths, we dive deep into the conversations that shape our world and challenge our thinking. We're not afraid to dig in and get to the marrow of it all. Whether it's life, culture, or business in sports medicine, we're here to break it down raw and real. No filters, no fluff, just to the bone. With your host, Shelby Daly, we're getting to the bone. This is a clinically pressed, approved CEU podcast. Find the quiz to gain credit at clinicallypressed.org/courses. Clinically Pressed Company, making the complicated simple through results that give back. Find out more at clinicallypressed.org. Let's get started.
Welcome back to the Bone. Today we're joined by Dre Mendoza. He's an athletic trainer that's I consider forward-thinking and an advocate for the professional empowerment through entrepreneurship and fair compensation. We're diving into the topic that doesn't get enough open conversation: how athletic trainers can leverage their expertise to create additional income streams, from affiliate programs to referral programs. So we're going to tackle this hot button issue. If PRN and event-based athletic trainers aren't being reimbursed for supplies or extra time, why shouldn't they charge for services like taping and recovery treatments while on site? So welcome to the show, Dre. How are you doing?
Good. Thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
Yeah.
I'm finally happy that we got to work this out. I'm happy to be here.
Well, I think we're very busy individuals with all the extra stuff we're doing. I think it's exciting stuff that both of us are exploring, and I think a lot of people want to learn what all there is to offer outside of, the box of athletic training and how to
definitely
capitalize on our skills. So I wanted to start off, it's still a mystery, and I'm sure I'm a mystery to a lot of people. What is your primary employment, and what all do you do on the side?
So I started off my career as a full-time athletic trainer, part-time photographer, but now I flip-flopped. And long story short is that I'm a full-time photographer, a videographer, and part-time per diem athletic trainer now.
Gotcha. Well, so with all the things that you do, you definitely still have your hand in other pots also, like affiliates, and you do a lot of promotional things for sports medicine companies, which is great. So for those that are unfamiliar, can you explain what affiliate programming looks like for athletic trainers and what you get out of it?
So in terms of strictly sports medicine athletic training, affiliates and partnerships that I have, I am an ambassador for Nexus Sports Medicine, and I'm an ambassador for Continuing Education 360. Those are my two main sports medicine ambassadorships. For Nexus Sports Medicine, I donate my time and my content creation, and they don't pay me. I don't have a discount code. That's everybody asks me for the discount code, and I say there's no discount code, but just look out for the sales. And a lot of stuff through Nexus will go on sale too, like once they start making more colors, then the less popular colors will tend to drop in price. So always keep a lookout for that through Nexus Sports Medicine. And then for Continuing Education 360, I do have a 10% discount with them. And that's really easy. You just go on their website, you plug in my code, you get your 10%, and I get, I think, maybe 3 or 4% commission. So I do get something from them. It's obviously, nothing that is, I'm not like buying a Maserati with this money or anything. But it does help me out. It feeds the dog and the cat.
Yeah.
So those are my two main ones, and then I have a few other non-sports medicine athletic training affiliates if you want me to talk about those as well.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I would say that you're an influencer in the sports medicine space. Did you plan to do that, or how did you end up, being so popular on social media?
So that was never really my plan. So the funny story I always tell is I've had this account, Get Fit with Dre, since like 2017. I graduated undergrad in 2016. I made this fitness account and I was just posting fitness stuff, whatever. I thought I was going to be a YouTube sensation. mega fitness influencer. That's when I got my first camera. I learned all the camera stuff. Ended up liking being behind the camera and filming and doing all the creative stuff more than being in front of it. Obviously, I still do like to be in front of the camera, but I love all the technical stuff and the gear and all that stuff. But yeah, so I started this Instagram account and I was just posting, fitness stuff. It was kind of like a personal page for a couple years. And then I was like, you know what? There's a lot of funny athletic trainers on TikTok. Like Jordan, KP, and Matt. Those were the three main ones that really I was like, damn. I was like, they make some really good content, and and their content's a little different than mine. They're more on the educational side, the funny side, and I kind of was like, all right, I can do some funny stuff too because they do. They do, like I said, more educational, funny stuff. But I was like, you know what? Nobody complains for the athletic trainers. I was like, I'm going to complain for the athletic trainers, which is like funny because it's true. The stuff that I post, like schedules changing and your athletic trainers always being the last people to find out, like that kind of stuff. So I started posting about that. And then as soon as I started posting athletic trainer stuff, I started blowing up on both TikTok and Instagram. And that was like probably 2021, 2022. So it kind of took off there. And I was like, you know what? This is working for me. So I'm going to keep going with it. My favorite thing, my end goal at the end of the day, no matter what piece of content I put out, is athletic training is such a sometimes thankless, sometimes lonely profession. Sometimes, obviously, if an athlete gets injured, that takes a toll on you. And my content at the end of the day is just to make everybody laugh. Just get some sort of, you know, happiness back, especially like I said, if like one of your favorite athletes, obviously we don't pick favorites, but what if one of your favorite athletes gets injured, that takes a toll on you mentally. Like there's definitely been times where I've been on the drive home and I'm like, did I do everything I could? Did I do this right? Did I do that right? And athletic trainers need to remember that what we're here for is the healthcare of the athletes. And if I can make somebody laugh with a single piece of content, whether it's 15 seconds or a minute and a half of me ranting, that's kind of my main goal and how I ended up here in the social media world of athletic training.
So you kind of accidentally blew up, and then did you approach these partnerships or did they approach you?
So with the partnerships, it's a little bit of both. With the athletic training, sports medicine stuff, they approached me. Nexus approached me because I had bought my own dead bug, and I didn't know Jay at the time. For anybody that doesn't know Jay, he's the founder and creator of Nexus Sports Medicine. But he reached out to me through Instagram and said, "Hey, like, I saw you have the dead bug. How do you like it?" And we started chatting, and he said, "Would you be interested in making content for us? Like how you pack out your gear, like stuff like that." So Jay had reached out to me on I think Instagram, and we started DMing, started chatting about some content I can make for him, whether it was how I pack my dead bug or like my favorite things about the dead bug, and then it kind of just snowballed from there. With Continuing Education 360, they did the same thing. They said, "Hey, we like your content and we feel like you align with our values." And yeah, then they asked me to start making some content for them as well. And then for the non-athletic training stuff, I applied to a few of them. And then I met, so like for Kane Footwear, I met I don't know what his exact title is, but the guy that coordinates the events, I'll just call him the event coordinator. I met him at a marathon expo. He introduced me to his marketing director. I got his card. We connected that way, and I reached out and said, "Hey, you guys have an affiliate program?" So that was cool because I met them in person. I networked with them, but everything else that I have that's an affiliate, you can go to the site and sign up for the affiliate. And I try to really only do things that align with stuff that I do. Like I said, the Kane Footwear one because I'm a runner. I also have Alter Ego Running. They make the hats, my favorite hats of all time. And then like silly things like G Fuel because I'm a gamer and I love gaming, and that's like one of my favorite gaming supplements. Yeah, so that's kind of how I came across all of the affiliates. It's they either reached out to me or I found brands that I liked and I aligned with and I reached out to them. So you could do
Yeah.
both. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you see so many influencers pushing stuff and probably getting paid or something. I don't know. So it's always that borderline of like what's ethically okay to take on and, what's an effective partnership at the end of the day. I think as medical providers,
Hmm.
there's a very, very fine line for who's affiliated with what and who's pushing whatever. Obviously, you were kind of going after brands that you really trusted and actually used. Do you have any pointers for athletic trainers if they are approached by other brands? Have you turned down any brands that have tried to have you be an affiliate?
The only brands I've turned down are brands that compete with my already existing affiliates. So that's one thing to think about. You can't just like kind of sign up for everything, because like if you sign up for like, 5 different supplement brands and you're pushing, codes for all of them, people see through that and they're like, okay, this guy's just trying to, make some money. And sure, you could, and like people will still support you, but a lot of people will see that that's, not genuine. They
Yeah.
like people are smart, and people can really read you and figure out your vibes. And if you're like, or like hopping from one brand to another, like every 3 months you're like with one brand, then you're with another brand, and then you're with another brand, people are like, all right, this guy's just going with whoever's paying him the most now.
Yeah.
So in terms of that, yes, find something that you align with, find people that aren't going to compete with each other. And then if you do have like a toss up between two brands, then you kind of have to dig a little bit deeper. Like for instance, like Kane Footwear, they donate a lot of their proceeds to environmental causes and things like that. So I was like, all right, that's kind of cool. Like if I was comparing that to another shoe brand and that I liked, I would dig a little bit deeper and see that, and kind of gravitate toward them more. Like they're doing something good with what they're doing versus another brand that's, just picking up every influencer just to spread the word and make more money for themselves. That's a way to kind of sift through all that.
Yeah. Well, so this is why I wanted to have you on, since you have experience with affiliate and referrals and all that stuff. I was thinking last week is we work a lot of per diem stuff, and I've done a lot of scheduling for per diem companies. And I just, I'm glad that people are pushing for increased rates. Definitely needed with inflation and cost of living, everything going on. At the same time, from the business standpoint, sometimes it's
Hmm.
very difficult to convince people to increase pay, um, or just the budget to the sports medicine portion of their event. So I was wondering, have you ever thought of I mean, it's hard when you're with like a physical therapy company
Hmm.
that's per diem, but if you were doing it through like Go for Ellis or something, would it being a partner with like a hospital or another physical therapy clinic or a orthopedic doctor, and that you get, I don't want to say kickback because there are some legalities around it,
Right.
but if you had like the scheduler's direct phone number or email and say, hey, I'm sending these people your way, if they actually come in, you know it may be just like a retainer or a stipend, but I was wondering if there was better ways to your bang for your buck at the end of the day. Of you're at the event, I think that's a complaint for most athletic trainers, is where do I refer to at the end of the day, because it may be a new location that I'm not used to this hospital system. Have you ever thought of that, or even having referral codes to like ankle braces, so if their team doesn't have an athletic trainer, they can at least have some sort of bracing, since nobody will be able to tape their ankle or any of that. I wanted to pose that to you
Hmm.
and see what your thoughts are.
So in that sense, I've never really thought of that. Like for instance, the ankle brace example, I've never really. It's weird for me. I would feel weird, kind of like pitching something like that to a parent. Not specifically like a code, but if I really do like McDavid as a brand, I would say, hey, listen, I really like this brace. They have laces, they have cushioning where you need cushion. Then then yeah, I would probably do that. And then I would, if you're gonna go that route, I would have some sort of like a QR code on a business card or something.
Yeah.
And then it's also hard because you don't want to sound too salesy. So it's a good mix of, if you're gonna go that route, you know, really sound as genuine as you can. Usually, if I were like, okay, for example, if I was to do that, I would say, hey, listen, this is the brand that I really like. I have a discount code. If you like it, uh, go for it. But if it's too expensive and you find one that works better for your athlete, because obviously not everybody has the same foot, everybody has, different size feet, thicker ankles, thinner ankles, whatever. Go with what feels good for your athlete. Like, don't like take my card, but like, if don't feel bad if you don't use it. That's kind of
Yeah.
the route I would go if I was going to go like that. But in terms of working for a company and kind of getting the most bang for your buck, I've heard of athletic trainers kind of charging per ankle tape job. And I think that's a great idea. I think that's a great idea, especially if you are the one supplying your own supplies. I'm lucky enough to work with a company where I can reach out. And funny enough, I live like 10 minutes from their HQ. So I can say, hey, listen, I have like this weekend, for example, I'm working 10 hours of track and field. And they asked me, hey, do you need anything for this weekend? So I took a look at my bag. I said I could probably use some stretchy tape, maybe a couple rolls of white tape, and then whatever else. Stuff for blisters. Track and field loves blisters. So I'm lucky enough where I can reach out to them and say, hey, this is the stuff I need, and they'll provide it. But if you're somebody who works for a company that doesn't do that, then yes, definitely charge for your ankle tape jobs. A lot of parents, like, they won't even bat an eyelash. They'll just be like, okay, cool. Because I mean, at the end of the day, they've already spent like thousands of dollars to be like at a tournament. Like, what's another $5? I've heard people charging up to $8 for ankle tapes. And if that's your price, then that's your price. And if they don't want to get taped, then they don't want to get taped.
Yeah.
So that's another good route if you want to make a little bit of extra money and then also pay for your supplies, because paying for your own stuff is expensive. I've been with this per diem company that I've been with since I've graduated, since like 2017, which is great. So I know a lot of them, and that's why it is easy for me to ask for supplies, because I have like everybody's phone number and they all know me, and I can just walk into the HQ and you know say hi, give high fives, grab some stuff, and leave. But not everybody has that luxury. Even for my company, like I tell people all the time, oh, just reach out, they'll send you stuff. But like, people will live like an hour away. They don't have time to drive all the way over there, or there's just limitations to even my setting that or my company that I work with. But they do a pretty good job of helping me out, and I'm very grateful for that.
Yeah. Well, that's working for or scheduling for companies.
Hmm.
Supplies has been always the biggest hard point,
Right.
and especially trying to staff nationally. Postage isn't getting any cheaper. It's dependent on the event, because I've worked at events where I haven't even touched my tape or my medical
Right.
bag. And then there's some where I come out and my med pack is just empty.
Yeah,
So I think it's
definitely.
being
Same here.
aware of like the different sports, because obviously volleyball and basketball, it's still quite a thing to do the prophylactic taping.
Yeah.
I think I'm a fan that it should be started. It's part of the culture of charging for tape for
Hmm.
prophylactic. Just trying to get supplies is so hard these days. I think that adds to, if the rate's not as competitive, you can definitely make up for it if you're charging for the tape application.
Right.
Or even I've worked events where they're like, it's kind of your own shop. We'll pay you the hourly rate for emergency care, but like if you want to do cupping, it was like $10 an application that I was doing,
Right.
or
Right. Right.
$20, whatever. Because I mean that's that's how you get around those creepy people are like, oh, you give massages, like, well, actually I
Yeah.
can treat you, but it's gonna cost.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
But then it's also I see it as the balance of, if you're there for the emergency care, would that take away from you responding to the courts or to the field or anything? I think those are some of the little caveats that you have to be aware of, especially if you're working an event by yourself.
Right.
I think you can just push off people and say, I'm not prophylactically taping because I
Hmm.
don't have the capacity to do it. But yeah, I thought it was interesting. I've seen companies charge or let athletic trainers charge for taping, but taking it a step further with the ankle braces or even the referral portion of it. Because I think that's the biggest debate right now, is not giving away your expertise for free.
Right.
And if you're really well known in an area, you've obviously made connections with chiropractors or physical therapists, massage therapists, doctors, or orthopedics, you know.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't you kind of lean into that a little bit more? Obviously, insurance is always a hang up, but, you know, trying to make sure you're getting compensated for the effort that you've put forth over however many years you've been building
Yeah.
those networks and stuff.
Yeah. I think it is always important to advocate for yourself too. Like, ask for a little bit of kickback from, doctors, chiropractors, physical therapists. If they're able to,
Mm-hmm.
then great. And if they can't, maybe you have a good relationship with them. You still give them, referrals regardless. Or if it's not something you're interested in, you can always move on. That's another thing too, is I tell athletic trainers, if you don't feel obligated just because you've worked one tournament for that one company or for that club team, like, don't feel like you have to say yes to everything. Like, if you're butting heads with them and it's not worth your time, then it's not worth your time. You don't need to stress yourself out, because fortunately and unfortunately, somebody will always cover it if they can, regardless. So if it's really stressing you out and, not worth your time, then just, move on and find somebody else that's either willing to take the coverage or just leave it up to them. And then another thing I wanted to bring up is I have worked with um, club tournaments for like lacrosse and soccer, where the actual the people that are running the tournament, whatever club it is, will actually provide X amount of boxes of tape, and then you just go to their like main tent, grab whatever tape you need for the day or whatever. So that's also, like, if tape is hard to come by and you don't want to front your money and then they get reimbursed, because obviously supplies are expensive, then you could always ask whoever's holding the tournament too to just pick up a couple boxes of tape. So that's another
Yeah.
route to go.
Well, and I think that's where it's interesting, is a lot of people get confused with the Go4 application, is that it is a technology-based company. It's your own business that's just connecting you with operators. So,
Right.
charging for tape, I mean, I would ask before I showed up to the event, obviously, but I don't think people are taking advantage of the Go4 platform like they could and making more money at these events. So, I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'll get a call from Ellis tomorrow and she'll be
Right.
like, stop promoting that stuff. You're making it harder for me. But, if they're
One other
recording.
thing
Oh, yeah.
One other thing I did want to say is, if you are in an area and you do cover a lot of the same clubs and a lot of the same teams a lot, you could always, I don't want to throw anybody under the bus or anything, but you could always go directly to the club and be like, hey, listen, I live really close. I'm always the one covering here anyway. So
Yeah.
if you want to just skip the middleman, I'll give you, my time for X amount of dollars. But that's also tough too, because if you are doing that, then you still have to be covered under a physician. So you have to go out and get your own standing orders
Yeah.
and your insurance and all that stuff. So that's, one good way to kind of establish yourself, but you also have to check the boxes and, cover your ass. That's always the biggest thing with that.
Yeah. Yeah. And make sure that you check if there's a non-compete clause if you are
Right,
going
right,
through a specific company, because even though they're somewhat invalid, some of the stuff is applicable to stealing
right.
contracts and that type
Yeah,
of
yeah.
stuff. So be careful. Yeah, I'm going to try to have somebody on, a lawyer, to talk about that different stuff
Oh,
in the
cool.
near
Yeah,
future.
that's cool.
So I just, with the culture of per diem work for athletic trainers, non-compete is very crippling to an
Right.
athletic trader's income. So definitely want to try to set the record straight with some of that stuff and make
Yeah,
sure you're
definitely.
protecting yourself.
Right, right, right. And a lot of the times, like I said, that could be a route, but if, like I said before, if it's too much of a headache, just go through a company.
Yeah. Well, and from the business aspect, you do have to kind of look at what the company is providing you, even if it's at a little bit lower rate. If they are providing you standing orders for the per
Yeah.
diem work, some do replenish supplies or provide the supplies. they're getting all the EAPs, they're making sure the event provides all the information that you need. So there's a lot of back end work. And I think some athletic trainers, it feels like they spit on us sometimes when they're like, that's an outrageous rate. And it's like, well, we put a lot of work in the backside too.
Right, right.
So I think we need to be a little bit more gracious sometimes, especially when it's athletic training companies owned by athletic trainers that are putting these things together.
Raising the standard in sports medicine starts with how you build the team. At Elite 7 Sports Medicine, we're building something with purpose. We're a physician and athletic trainer-led team providing medical coverage at athletic events across the country, with a strong focus on professionalism, collaboration, and doing what's best for athletes. Our work doesn't stop when the event ends. We care about continuity, communication, and supporting quality care beyond the sidelines. As we continue to grow nationally, we're staying grounded in what matters most: strong medical leadership, clear systems, and team-first mindset. We believe in raising the standard for sports medicine and creating an environment where quality care and professionalism come first. Find us at www.e7sportsmedicine.com. Join a network that values you. You work hard. You train hard. You take care of everyone else. But when was the last time you treated yourself? That's where Source Soap comes in. Created by athletes for athletes, Source Soap is an all-natural recovery soap that helps wash away soreness, inflammation, and fatigue. With ingredients like peppermint, eucalyptus, and activated charcoal, it's basically self-care disguised as a shower. Whether it's after a long training session, a tournament weekend, or just a tough day, Source Soap helps you reset, recover, and smell amazing. Because taking care of your body shouldn't stop when you leave the gym. So go ahead, treat yourself. Head to sourcesoap.com and use the code TTB15. That's TTB15 for 15% off your order. Because recovery starts with you. If you're an athletic trainer who's ever scrolled a job board and thought, I wish I didn't have to sift through all these personal trainer and physical education teacher jobs just to find real athletic training roles, you're not alone. Athletic Trainer Finder was built by an AT for ATs to fix what's broken in the job market. Every week, they track athletic training jobs from across the country and spotlight the roles that actually respect the profession, the ones with clear pay, realistic expectations, and strong settings. They don't pretend the market is perfect. They show you what's out there and call out what's worth your time. The mission is simple: make the athletic training job market more transparent, more honest, and more fair. Whether you're burned out, curious, or ready for your next move, Athletic Trainer Finder puts the power back in your hands. Visit atcfinder.com and create your free account to see this week's jobs. That's atcfinder.com so you can find what the market really offers.
Well, I see you got a couple questions. Work in flexible event-based settings. What advice do you have for PRN ATEs to turn side work into?
Yeah, if you are on the Go4Ellis application, I would definitely chain link that to Wavon or any of the virtual athletic training rooms that are popping up, because that's a great way to continue your remote income, your flexibility income. Because if you do have a patient at the event, you should have a way to follow up with them and provide extra care. I think that's one of the biggest holes in athletic training at this point is, okay, we saw you, I evaluated you, I told you where to go. Most of the time they're so emotional, they're not going to learn. They're not going to listen to where you referred them or gave you any of the exercises or advice you gave them on managing it at home. So, I think looking for these platforms that give you the ability to get linked up afterwards and you're still getting paid to give advice are definitely
Right.
on the radar of athletic trainers these
Yeah. What
days.
was that platform you said that you would link with Go for?
Wave On.
Wave On. I've never even heard of that.
Yeah.
That's
So
cool.
they're a platform that is basically a virtual athletic training room. So the hard part for the athletic trainer at this moment is the marketing of it, which athletic trainers are just not good at, but getting your name out there and in front of athletes or patients so that they can basically have a concierge athletic trainer in their pocket. So that's up and coming. I'd push people to go look
Yeah,
at
that's
it.
cool.
It's free to apply for it, and you have a QR code and basically a full website that you can refer people to so they can schedule time with you.
Wow, that's cool. Yeah, I'm gonna have to look
Yeah.
into that. Yeah, that's great. I guess the biggest thing I would say if anybody gets anything out of this episode is definitely don't be afraid to ask for what you're worth. It's important that everybody does that. It doesn't matter if you're in the per diem setting or if you're applying for a job, a full time, whether in whatever setting it is. It's so definitely okay to ask for more than what the company has listed the salary range. Don't be afraid to ask for more than what they're advertising, because sometimes they do have a little bit of wiggle room.
Hmm.
Or a lot of times they could say something like, okay, we're going to keep you at this rate, but we'll reevaluate in like 3 months, 6 months, and get you some more money sooner than like your year review. So that's always important, because like they're not going to give it to you if you don't ask either. And just, don't be annoying about it, but be upfront about it. Like if you really like the job, the team, the setting, but the pay's a little not as much as you'd like, just ask. That's probably the biggest thing. And um yeah, and like the thing with taping ankles, $3, $4, $5, whatever you want to charge. Like a lot of times these parents don't even know better, and like I said, they've already paid like $1,200 just to be there for the weekend. What's another $5? Like, just don't be afraid to ask either. That's
Yeah.
it.
And I think that's what I was forgetting was if we want to break the culture of icing, charging $1 for an ice bag will definitely start weaning people off
Yeah,
depending on ice. FYI.
yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, I mean, unless you have unlimited ice bags and your employer's providing them for you, then sure, go ahead.
Yeah, $1 an ice bag will add up very quickly at some of these
Yeah,
events.
for sure.
If we're trying to get away from icing everywhere, that's the best way to break that cycle very easily.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's definitely one thing I always pitch to the athletes too, is like, I can ice it, but it's gonna feel better if you just move it around a little bit more than, kicking your foot up or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, charging you for the ice bag, especially, you know what? I might start doing that, because for my jobs, I always have to bring ice, and like because I only work per diem, I don't have access to an ice machine. Because I do know some athletic trainers that work per diem that work full time, so they just go to the school or whatever, fill up a 10-gallon and bring that with them. But I pay like $5 for a 5 pound bag of ice, so maybe I should start charging.
Yeah. I think that's the best way around it at the
Yeah,
end of the day, and
yeah,
it helps regulate your ice from flying out the door.
yeah, yeah. That's true. Very smart.
Well, since I have you on, any other topics you just really want to discuss about athletic training?
Well, let me think. Athletic training. Like, I mean, nothing off the top of my head. I have been seeing a lot more new faces on social media, faces that, have just graduated from undergrad, or sorry, now that it's a master's, graduated from their masters. And I really like the direction this is going, because it's exposing our profession to a lot more people.
Mm-hmm.
And every day I feel like on TikTok, on Instagram, I find somebody new. I like their stuff. I share their stuff. I follow them, and I'm like, dang, this is really good, because like a lot of I'm not going to say old, but a lot of the older athletic trainers really feel like the profession is dying. But I feel like maybe not growing yet, but the interest in our profession is definitely growing from what I've seen. I mean, like, even like just looking at the older, some of the OG faces, like KP has, I think, like 150K followers on TikTok, and like all of his videos get like over 100K views. Like that, if you think about it, that's so many eyes on the profession.
Yeah.
And just the interest, and it is growing. Uh, even like every now and then, I'll get an actual athlete reach out to me, and maybe they don't have access to an athletic trainer, but they'll say, "Hey, I just hurt my shoulder. What would you suggest, or who can I see?"
Hmm.
So like a lot of kids that don't have access to athletic trainers or have never been exposed to an athletic trainer are seeing this content. So that's why I think it's really important for, if you are able to get on your platform and make that educational content, just to keep that snowball rolling. Maybe one day our profession will get paid. I still don't think we get paid what we're worth, but maybe one day our profession will get paid what we're worth because of all of our hard work. You know,
Yeah.
so for you new athletic trainers that are on social media, keep going, because I see your stuff and I love it, and I think we're all doing a great job at you know branching out into the world.
Yeah. Well, 100,000 followers, that's double the athletic trainers that are actually actively working in the profession or certified, I guess. I want to bounce this off you because you're a better influencer than me. So, National Athletic Training Month is coming up.
Hmm.
So, my biggest hiccup with some of our strategies on these advocacy kind of pushes on social media is I feel that it's kind of a dead end because we're already kind of marketing or spreading the message in places that we're already established in. I was thinking if we make a push for athletic trainers asking their athletes to do a highlight about their athletic trainer on their personal channels and stuff, so we can get outside of our athlete and college and sport
Yeah,
rings, and it actually goes out to the public a little bit further.
yeah,
Because I'm just friends with athletic trainers basically, so anything
right,
I
right,
post just goes to athletic trainers. So I feel like I'm in an echo chamber and it's not
right.
really expanding as far as it could be. But do you have any thoughts or ideas on that, or any other ideas of how do we get outside of our echo chamber to get a little bit further reach?
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. Like if you're able to, obviously some settings you're not supposed to be friends with your athletes on social media, which is fine, and like I totally
Yeah.
get it. But maybe if you're like in a college setting where that a little bit more okay, maybe get the okay from whoever needs to give the okay. Do a collab post, maybe, because I've seen athletes on TikTok and Instagram too, like making TikToks in the athletic training room, even if it's just them, gossiping or whatever. Like it's still exposure for the athletic trainer. And if you have an ability to collab where you have an athletic trainer that's great with social media and then an athlete that's great with social media, I think that's a great idea. I haven't even thought of that. So that's
Yeah. I
but in
just
terms of,
hashtags go so far only if you're looking for them, which athletic trainers are the
right,
ones looking for
exactly.
them.
Right, exactly. And yeah, in terms of exposure, I think that's probably the best route to go, especially now athletes are getting huge followings, like millions of people on TikTok and Instagram, especially with like NIL deals. I think that's a great way for the athletic training community to grow. Is And honestly, that's one of the strategies I use for myself to kind of, I hit a plateau at some point, and instead of targeting all of my content to athletic trainers, I started targeting athletes and stuff that they would have to deal with in the athletic training room, and funny stuff that happens to athletes and their relationships to their athletic trainers. And then that's kind of where I hit the plateau, broke the plateau, and kept growing there. So I think that's a great idea to start working more with athletes, and even just maybe not even athletes, but maybe just the actual university. I've seen, universities and athletic training departments on social media, especially because athletic training month's coming up. They'll highlight their athletic trainer,
Hmm.
which is great because sometimes you still get those athletes that never get hurt, never been exposed to an athletic trainer just because they've never been hurt. So they're like, oh, we have an athletic trainer. Maybe they can help me with, whatever. So I think collaborating with your organization too is great, especially if you're like at a huge like D1 school that has an athletics programs or athletic programs that have huge followings too. It's great exposure for the athletic trainer.
Yeah. Well, getting in collaboration with your PR department, because I know some of these bigger schools, some of the social media content they push, I'm just like, That's basically movie level that they just put
Oh
out.
yeah, for sure.
I've always wanted to get a grant or some sort of funding to travel to different athletic training rooms and do like my cribs, the MTV
Yeah, that would
cribs.
be really cool. That would be really cool. I think that'd be a great idea too. I mean, like a lot of these athletes see athletic training rooms or whatever in the NFL or like the NBA, and they don't realize that some of the schools have that caliber of a facility, if not better. Like I've seen,
Hmm.
D1 football programs in college, like with way cooler stuff, way more expensive stuff than some, you know, NFL teams. So I think that's a great idea too.
Yeah. So I don't know. Thought I would pick your brain on that. That was an idea that came up like 2 days ago. Of
Yeah,
we just we keep echoing to the same people, and that's why I don't think we're getting the spread that we need. Is
yeah.
thinking outside the box.
I think another good idea would maybe be like getting people like Dr. Mike. I don't know if you follow Dr. Mike. Like he's got a
Mike
huge
Stella.
platform. Mike Stella, but also his name on Instagram is Dr. Mike, and he's I think he's an ortho, or maybe he's
Oh,
just a
okay.
general. I don't know what his specialty is if he has one, but he's huge on social media. But getting on a platform like that where he has so many followers that are just general population, I think that'd be cool too. Because like maybe a parent has a kid and they're like complaining about something, but maybe they don't know they have an athletic trainer at the school.
Yeah.
They see him on some ortho's Instagram page, and they're like, "Hey, why don't you see if your school has an athletic trainer?" So that'd be another good way to go too.
Yeah. Yeah. Just making up silly scenarios to make those silly reels.
Right, right. Yeah, I know. It's funny because I make so much funny stuff and I love making funny stuff, but there's always like that underlying lesson. I try to make sure everything has a lesson too, along with being funny, but
Yeah.
yeah, it doesn't
Yeah.
always happen, but I try to.
I'm just waiting for the coach to see those schedule change ones and actually get how
Yeah, I
much
know.
stress it
I
actually
know.
causes.
Right. Because man, I hate to say it, but a lot of these coaches they think they're the center of the universe, center of the school, like everything should revolve around them, but
Yeah.
it's not always that case.
Yeah, definitely. Well, if people aren't following you already, what is your handle on TikTok and Instagram or wherever else you
TikTok and
are?
Instagram, I am get fit with Dre underscore. There's an underscore after the Dre.
Okay.
And that's most of my main channels. I don't really post much on YouTube. I've been trying to more, but if you want to follow me on there, you can just look up. My full name is Andre Mendoza, LATATC on YouTube. So,
Cool.
but yeah,
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think we got a good range today.
yeah. No, I think
I
so.
don't know if there's anything
Yeah.
else.
No, yeah, I think we did a great job. Yeah, I love chatting with people like this. It's the best.
I know. That's why I wanted to do a podcast because it's like I have so many interesting conversations that I'm sure other people are having to an extent, but someone just needs to start recording it. It's good for the
Yeah,
history of the profession and, learning from each other at the end of the day.
yeah, definitely. I love learning from other athletic trainers whether it's like just a silly name that you give to an exercise that you call it one thing and they call it one thing and you're like, no, that's not right. And then you're like, no, it's actually literally the same thing. We just call it different things. Or like a completely new taping technique. I love learning from other athletic trainers. So,
Yeah, definitely.
are you going to be at NATA in June?
I would like to, since it's in Philadelphia, go back to
Yeah,
the stomping grounds at this point.
yeah,
We'll see. I'm sure this summer is going to be super busy with everything, so I'm
yeah,
hoping to at least make it to some of the regional stuff. I was mad that I didn't make it to EATA.
yeah. I texted you. I was like, are you going to be there?
Yeah.
I saw some familiar faces and some new faces, which is great. But I think I'm going to be at NATA with the Nexus Sports Medicine booth.
Okay.
And even if they don't need me to work the booth, then I'm going to go at the very least just for a night or two, just to go out with everybody. I know Nexus is going to have a party, so I want to go to that
Nice.
at the very least. But I told them, I was like, hey, if you need help at the booth, I can talk all day. I can stand all day. Like, just let me know.
I know. My goal for my podcast is to do the live recordings at some of these
That'd be
conferences.
great. Yeah.
So I need you to like bring your equipment too, so that
Oh
I
yeah,
can
yeah,
at
for
least
sure.
have people sit across from each other. I need a good camera setup is the only thing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, that was the discussion I had with Jay about NATA. Is I brought my camera to EATA this year, got some good
Mhm.
videos for them, and I told them, well, he said, if we bring you, would you want to do that, or would you want to like be at the booth talking to people? I said I'm down either way. So you let me know. I'll just bring my cameras and whatever, and I'll help you out too.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I'm glad that we got to talk finally.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I know it. If you ever need a guest again and you need me, I'll definitely.
Yeah.
I love chatting.
Yeah.
So
Well, if you have any topics that are just burning to talk about, let me know. I always
yeah,
like debating.
yeah. No, definitely. I'm down for that.
Well, I will hopefully have you on again, and thank you so much for being on.
Yes, thanks for having me.
That's it for today's episode of To the Bone. I hope we've sparked some new thoughts, challenged your perspectives, or simply reminded you to dig a little deeper. Remember, life isn't just about what's on the surface. Sometimes you've got to cut deeper and get to the bone of what really matters. To the Bone podcast is a product of Daily LLC. It's hosted and produced by Shelby Daly, ATC, and Randy Daly. No clinical decision-making should be based solely on one source. While care is taken to ensure accuracy, factual errors can be present. For more on the show, visit www.tothebonepodcast.com. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe, rate, and leave a review. Get involved in the conversation. You can find us at www.tothebonepodcast.com. Drop us topic suggestions or be a potential guest. We're all about connecting with you, our listeners. Until next time, stay curious, stay grounded, and keep cutting deep.